Hello, and welcome to the webinar series, Stewardship in Seconds. Each webinar in this series focuses on a different aspect of well-you. Today's topic, how to move more, falls under the aspect of getting fit. Thank you for joining us today. Today we will cover the reasons why you do not want to have a seat. So here's what the researchers say. For people who sit most of the day, their risk of heart attack is about the same as smoking, and that comes out of research done by a cardiologist in the Mayo Clinic. Also, Dr. James Levine says that today our bodies are breaking down from obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, depression, and the cascade of health ills and everyday malaise that comes from what scientists have named sitting disease. And lastly, the British Journal of Sports Medicine states that prolonged sitting should be considered within occupational health and safety policies and practices, just like the other elements of posture. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to review the top causes of death in the United States, what's the solution, also the impact of physical activity on health. We'll review the U.S. physical activity guidelines. We'll discuss what it means to use exercise as medicine and how to incorporate physical activity and movement throughout the day. Also, we'll work on goal setting and creating your own movement goal. First, on to the actual causes of death. Not the most pleasant topic, but it will set the foundation for the rest of the presentation in regards to why this is so important. Why are we still talking about physical activity? Why are we still talking about exercise? Well, we're still talking about it because inactivity and poor diet are the cause of 16.6% of death in the United States. That's the number 2 leading cause of death after tobacco. So that's why we're still talking about it, and that's why it's still important, because it affects the majority of the citizens of the United States. So what's the solution? We have this big statistic stating that a lot of people are affected by inactivity. And now what are we going to do about it? Well, thinking about your latest doctor's visit, a lot of people aren't necessarily prescribed exercise as medicine, but if we had a switch that we could start prescribing exercise as medicine, what would that look like? Would that be part of the solution? Here, Dr. Robert states that if we had a pill that gave all of those benefits, meaning the benefits of physical activity, and if that pill was readily available, we would find a way to make sure every patient took it. So what is that pill? That pill today is exercise and is physical activity. So here are some reasons why you won't hear about it necessarily from your doctor. Some doctors do a great job of talking about exercise in your doctor's visits, but others don't do as well. So lack of media advocacy. There aren't a lot of lobbyists lobbying for exercise, so lack of that media attention. There's also no tangible success measures, so it's very difficult to put into specific measures what success looks like. It's all on a personal level. Also, doctors are lacking the time to effectively counsel patients. Most of our doctor's visits are contained within a 15-minute conversation, and quite frankly, there's just not enough time to talk about how to get patients to exercise and how to break down barriers and then how to effectively exercise. That can be an hour conversation, and 15 minutes just isn't enough time. Also, they may not know all of the proper and most up-to-date training techniques available to patients. And also, there's no national reimbursement policy for referrals. So those are some reasons why you might not be talking, your doctor may not bring it up in your doctor's visits. But just because they're not talking about it doesn't mean that it's not important. We've seen that statistic on the other side. What happens when you're inactive? It's a second cause of leading death. And we know what that side effect is. Also, the side effect of being active are minimal. So overuse injuries is a possible side effect, but that can be limited by starting slow and starting low. So what that means is starting something like a walking program, just a couple minutes a day at a time, low intensity, and going slow. So you don't need to start sprinting. If you're getting off the couch, you can just start with a slow walk around the block. And then also, sudden death is a possible side effect, but that's very rare and most often occurs in people with certain genetic predispositions for that effect. So now on to something a little bit more positive, the impact of physical activity on health. So fortunately, there are tremendous health benefits that I've seen with even low levels of exercise. So the amount of exercise needed to benefit health is much lower than the amount needed for fitness. So those are two separate concepts. Health is related to fitness and fitness is related to health, but they're not exactly the same thing. So if you're thinking about health, you can do 10 minutes of exercise a day, or 10-minute segments of exercise 3 times a day, and see tremendous health benefits. The amount needed to increase fitness, that means a little bit of increased intensity and time. So there's a little bit of a gap between health and fitness, but they are on the same continuum. So starting out, regular physical activity at the correct intensity can reduce all of those things that you see on the screen. It's pretty amazing. It reduces the risk of heart disease by 40%, risk of stroke, reduces the incidence of diabetes, reduces the incidence of high blood pressure, reduces the risk of recurrent breast cancer. You see colon cancer on the screen, reduces the risk of Alzheimer's by 1/3, and can decrease depression as effectively as Prozac or behavioral therapy. So all of those things I think are pretty amazing and good reasons to start. Here's a second slide to back up some of those comments. On the first slide, it helps people achieve and maintain a healthy weight. It also can reduce feelings of stress, anxiety, and depression. It can build and maintain healthy bones, muscles, and joints, boosts energy level, improves quality of sleep. And again, just to reiterate, it reduces the risk of heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, developing obesity, and developing osteoporosis. So those are some major benefits that you get, and there's not a lot of programs that you can instill in your life that you'll be able to receive such positive benefits. So how much is enough? What are we talking about here? We're thinking that physical activity, maybe you're thinking that it's hard to incorporate in your life. Well, here's some standing goals that you can have and how much you need to incorporate into your life. So about 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity physical activity. So you can choose your own schedule. For example, you can choose 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise 5 days per week, or 3 10-minute sessions per day, 5 days per week. So it can be in a variety of combinations. The main goal to get there is about 150 minutes per week. Also, this information can be found on the acsm.org website /physical activity if you want more information specific to the guidelines. Those guidelines are specific to adults age 18 to 64, and you'll see some other guidelines on the screen related to children and adolescents and also for older adults. So now, exercise is important, but why don't we do it? Well, there's a variety of reasons. I don't have enough time, for instance, is a reason. Thinking about, I get bored doing the same thing over and over and over again. The gym is too intimidating. You don't feel like you fit in maybe to the people that are going to the gym. I need to take care of my family. I'm too tired and I don't know what to do. So those are all major reasons. Do any of those sound familiar to you? Maybe you've thought them at one time or another about why we're not moving more. So we're going to take the rest of the presentation to talk about physical activity and how to incorporate it into your day. I want to start out with this fact that there are 1,440 minutes in every day. Do you think you would have time to schedule 30 minutes of them for physical activity, given the incredible benefits that we have been talking about today? want you to think about that and think about if that's an attainable goal for you. Maybe you want to start out with 10 minutes a day and then slowly increase each week, maybe by 5 minutes until you get up to 30 minutes. But just take some time and think about that. Think about what that could mean for you, given those incredible benefits of reducing risk and improving mood. Now, what exactly is exercise? So exercise, fitness, health, physical activity, those are a lot of terms, and they're interrelated, but they're not exactly the same thing. When we're talking about fitness and exercise as medicine, we're talking about 4 different components of fitness. So there's aerobic, which involves running a lot of times, increased heart rate, increased your cardiovascular system, gets your blood pumping, gets your breath, increased breathing rate with aerobic exercise. Then you have your muscular fitness. So that's strength training a lot of times. Yoga, balance can also be a component of muscular fitness, as well as aerobic fitness in some cases, depending on the class. And then flexibility, so stretching, again with the yoga, that's also part of flexibility, but mostly stretching those muscles. And then body composition, so the how much muscle mass you have and how much fat mass you have, and then how much skeletal mass you have. So thinking about those areas of fitness and thinking about one area that you might be able to focus on. So if you're thinking about incorporating physical activity into your daily life, for instance, you could start with a morning walk or afternoon walk or a lunchtime walk for 15 minutes. You could also begin your day with 10 minutes of yoga when you wake up in the morning. Or how about a Friday night getting out on the dance floor and dancing the night away with a partner? You can take a minute to think about an activity that you would like to try to incorporate throughout your day. Just remember, we are what we do repeatedly. That's a good framework to get yourself in. What are you doing each day? What are you doing repeatedly? That reflects your values. Is physical activity of value to you? And if it is, maybe you can think about incorporating it into your daily life. Now on to the steps to fitness. If you have a pen and paper close by, I would like you to try to find that piece of pen and paper while I review these steps of fitness. So gather up those materials and I'll go over these steps to fitness. The first step is to write your personal fitness goal. The second step is to go through the pre-participation checklist. And the third step is to start moving. So do you have that piece of paper and pen? If you do, I would like you to write down your personal fitness goal. So write down, my goal is to fill in the blank. Write down a favorite activity here. It may be hiking, it may be dancing, it may be yoga, it may be kayaking, it may be rock climbing, it may be running. It could be whatever your favorite activity, physical activity is, for at least, and then fill in the blank of how many minutes per day you'll be able to do that, and then how many times per week. So write that down and hold on. Now I would like you to go through the pre-participation checklist. So let's see here. If you have answered yes to any of these questions on the screen, it would be advised to consult with your doctor before beginning any exercise program. So check out those items on the screen. You can pause the webinar on the screen to give you a chance to review that pre-participation checklist to make sure that you can begin a physical activity or fitness program. So let's move on to developing your action plan. So to create an action plan, we want to decide what your goal is, what you want. And look at that. A study found that in 1953, Yale graduating seniors were asked a series of questions, one of which was, have you established clear, specific goals on your life? And have you written down and made plans to achieve these goals? They found that only 3% had. 20 years later, in 1973, there was a follow-up with the surviving members of the class of 1953. And through this follow-up, the researchers found that 3% who had written down their goals that were clear and specific had plans to achieve them had more financial wealth than the other 97% combined. So that study is used as an example of why creating an action plan is so important. We have found that less than 5% of people have goals, and the vast majority of people walking around have no goals at all, and less than 1% actually write them down. So think about what you want to do, and writing down that goal will increase the chances that it's actually going to happen. Another step you can do is visualize yourself actually achieving this goal. Then write it down. We also want to include details. In another webinar series, motivation and goal setting, we talk about the SMART goals. That I would encourage you, if you have more questions about writing goals and creating an action plan, to check out that goal setting and motivation webinar that's on the Stewardship in Seconds website. Also, posting your goal, so posting that sheet of paper that you filled out in a place that you'll see it often, whether it's on a bathroom mirror at home, whether it's by your laptop at work, whether it's on the fridge. If you use that wherever it is that you'll see it often, you want to post that goal so you'll see it. Also, reward yourself. Set yourself up for some goals. It can be maybe you're going to treat yourself to a new outfit when you reach a certain goal, or maybe it's you're going to get a new CD, maybe you're going to go out to lunch with a friend, but something so that you're rewarding yourself for all of the hard work that you're doing. Now that you're going to be putting your action plan into place, there's a few steps to include in your exercise program. So with any type of activity, there's a risk of injury, and on the screen are some exercise safety tips. So making sure that you're drinking enough water. So if you are thirsty, my tennis coach back in high school always said, if you're thirsty, it's too late. So make sure that you drink lots of water, stay hydrated, and that will have benefits other than keeping you hydrated as well. You always want to warm up and cool down before and after a workout. Your muscles have been sedentary for a long time. They need some time to warm up so that they're not strained and stressed exponentially during a workout. Also, wearing comfortable clothing is important, and just paying attention to your body. If you're experiencing extreme discomfort, that's something that you want to notice and maybe report to a doctor. Also, look at your medications. If you are taking some blood pressure medications, for instance, can affect how you can exercise. So just be aware of that and talk with your doctor before participating in this program. Now, a beneficial way of incorporating exercise into your day would be trying to incorporate it into your work life. So one way to do that is to hold a walking meeting. Now, walking meetings work best in smaller groups, so up to 6 people, and it's better if it's more of a creating discussion or brainstorming or reflection rather than a detailed analysis or paperwork, because you don't want to have to be carrying around a lot of materials when you're walking. You also want to make sure that people attending the meeting know that it's going to be a walking meeting. So you want to inform them of the agenda, let them know that it's going to be a walking meeting so that they can put on their tennis shoes, get their rain jacket or coat if they need it, and then thirdly, pick an appropriate walking route. So sometimes in a neighborhood there's quieter areas. Maybe you want to go by a coffee shop or a yogurt shop or something like that on your way for a little treat. Just be aware of the busier routes, because that might be a cause of distraction or inability to hear other members of the group. Also bring a small notebook to jot down ideas or a recording device to jot down ideas. Then fifth step is walk at a comfortable pace so that everyone is included. We all have different walking paces. Just make sure that the whole group is involved and can hear each other. Or if it is a larger group, you can break into smaller groups and brainstorm and then report back to the larger group after your meeting. Then at the end of the meeting, you can summarize the meeting with the notes of the discussion and then follow-up actions. So this PDF or screenshot is available on the resources tab on the WellU website. So you can check that out if you want to jot down notes onto how to hold a walking meeting, or maybe you can make that one of your action goals for the upcoming day is to hold a walking meeting during the week. So some final tips before we end the webinar would be parking the car farther away from your destination. That will help you to include more physical activity throughout the day. You can try taking the stairs if you're able instead of the elevator. Play with your children or pets. Everybody wins in that situation. I don't know a child that doesn't want to play with their parent or their guardian or aunt or uncle. You can also take fitness breaks. It's important to include that into your schedule. So what I like to do is I like to block off time on my calendar and make an appointment, a fitness appointment. So that time can't be scheduled for meetings with other people unless they're going to join me on my workout, and then they're more than welcome to come. And put that into my calendar, set it on repeat, and then that time is blocked off every day for my fitness. Also performing gardening or home repair activities, that's a way to include physical activity. And if you are watching TV, what you can do is during the commercial breaks, you can march in place, you can do squats, you can do push-ups, you can do planks. There's lots of body weight exercises that you can perform right while you're watching TV. Or you can do it, each commercial break is about 90 seconds. So if you watch TV for an hour, that's almost 10 minutes of exercise. So that's a great way to get in about 10 minutes of physical activity. And then lastly, I think this is very important, keeping a pair of comfortable walking or running shoes in your car or office. That way, when you have time in your schedule, you'll have the tennis shoes ready and there won't be any excuses for yourself that you forgot them. And if it's a nice day outside, you see that it's sunny, you want to take a 15-minute walk around your workplace, then they're right there and handy and available for use, and you don't have to spend extra time going back home and picking up your workout gear. Now to recap, the evidence is pretty overwhelming about the health burden of physical inactivity. We saw that it's the top cause of death. There's many unfortunate side effects to being physically inactive: weight gain, increased risk of cancer, increased risk of heart disease. So there is, it's undeniable that there is a health burden as a result of being physically inactive. Fortunately, there are many benefits of exercise in the treatment and prevention of chronic disease, and this also can't be denied. Physical activity decreases all of those risks. That's been scientifically proven, and the good news is that physical activity can fit into any schedule. On the screen, you see many different examples of physical activity: dancing, skiing, yoga, gardening. It's accessible to everyone. There's different ways on the racetrack, for instance, as well. So we can be physically active in a variety of manners. So I would like you to believe that anything is possible. The only reason the bumblebee can fly is because no one told him he can't. That's one of my favorite quotes to think about, that it's amazing what you can do when you set your mind to it and think about that action plan and putting it into place. So thank you today for joining me. If you have any questions about this webinar or any other topics, please email me or go to the WellU website. As mentioned previously, this webinar is part of the WellU Stewardship in Seconds webinar series. Be sure to check out the other topic areas, including finding balance, eating well, managing money, seeking spirituality, practicing sustainability, and living healthy. And on a final note, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. So what can you do today to take care of your body? Can you follow through on that action plan that we set up today? I would like you to try it and see if you continue the habit tomorrow. Thanks again, and be well.